Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we are setting up my new reading journal for the final 3 months of 2025. And since I don't need another A5 journal, I bought this Tsuki Le Soleil travel notebook from Notebook Therapy, and it's actually supposed to be a moon planner, but I wanted to match the aesthetic of my other reading journal since they are for the same year, and I didn't want them to be twins. I only wanted the same vibes, so I think this one is perfect for that. Since the black journal is more of a moon aesthetic, this one I think it's more the sun, and I really love this cover, it's really pretty. As you can see, my reading journal is quite full, I only have space for September, so let's take a look at the new reading journal. This notebook has some initial pages because it is a collector's edition, and it has an about me page, some affirmations, the lunar calendar that actually has a very cool quote. Just like the moon, we go through phases. And then we have a few more spreads that are meant for manifestation. And I'm actually going to use all of these, but in private, of course. And then we finally reach the dot pages, and the travel journals from Notebook Therapy have cream pages instead of the white, and they are 160 GSM instead of the normal 160, but I'm actually really fine with that. The main thing that I knew I wanted to use was this sticker from Tina, also known as I'm a Wonder here on YouTube, and this is the Leo from the zodiac signs that she did in 2024 for her Patreons, which I was part of. And even though it's the zodiac sign and I'm not a Leo, I'm actually a Scorpio, I thought it was perfect to match the sun aesthetic of the journal and also match the theme that I was going for, that is Celestial Witch. In my current reading journal, the initial setup was a cats and witches theme, so I think this is a great way to relate to my reading journal without making a direct copy of it, including the theme, because it's more fun if I make the same theme but in a different way, instead of trying to copy the one that I made before, even if it's a continuation of the same journal. So the first 3 sticker sheets that I showed you were the ones that came with this journal, which I'm going to use, and the cat sticker sheets are ones that I used in the initial setup in my current reading journal, so basically I'm using the cats as the thing in common between the two journals, so it's more visible that both are related. The main color palette that I chose for this setup was beige, brown and black with a pop of golden here and there. It's a color palette that I'm really comfortable with and I love. Most of the materials I'm going to use are from Journalsay, so if you are interested in any of the things I'm going to use, you can check out the links for everything and also some discount codes in the description box down below. Of course, I had to make collages. I really enjoy doing this and it's kinda natural to me, it really is my comfort zone. And to add more detail, I'm also using the same stamps that I used in the other setup, but this time in gold instead of black. This transparent paper that I'm using for the stamps and I'm also going to use for the titles actually is the paper that was covering the journal, so it's a way to use something that was going to the recycle bin. I used a little bit of everything in here. I really wanted that layered look and I think it looks great for this kind of theme. And the pops of gold here and there really tie everything together because I really love gold accents and they are present in some papers, stickers and also washi tapes that I'm going to use throughout this setup. And next I'm going to use this sticker sheet from Paper Monogatari, and with this I'm bringing more black to the spread without being overwhelming. The trouble with this color palette is really trying to balance the black with lighter colors because the contrast is really strong and it can be overwhelming really fast. So I tried to move the black things around the spread so your eyes don't focus in just one spot, and this gives the illusion that the black isn't overpowering the other colors. This other sticker sheet that I'm introducing is from Sticky, and it's very ornate crystal balls. They are beautiful, and since they fit with the theme, I decided to use them. For the title, I thought of using the same font that I used in the other setup, but I didn't love that one and this theme is a bit more elegant, so I tried with my usual calligraphy style and I really liked it. So I used a Faber Castell Pitt artist pen in this brown color to write, and then I used a black fine liner from Ohuhu to make an outline. For the subtitle, that is part 2, I just decided to use my alphabet stamps in black to make an obvious distinction between the main title and this one. With the cover spread done, let's move on to the next spread that is my favorite from this setup, and that is my rating system and my maybe next. I started by decorating the top and bottom with the same materials, and then the thing that made me love this spread was this little half circle that I cut off from the same paper pad that I used in the cover, and I put it right in the middle of the spread, and I just love how it looks. So while I decorate, let me tell you a little bit about the rating system. This one is called Peach, and it was made by Erin Smith here on YouTube. P is for plot, so if you liked the events of the book, was it easy to follow, complex, enjoyable, predictable, and if it surprised you. E is for enjoyment. If you liked the book, if you would read again, would you recommend it? A is for artistry. If it was written well, engaging, easy to follow, did some sentences bother you? C is for characters, so did you love or hate them? Were they complex, shallow, believable, relatable? Did they grow or not? And finally, H is for heart. Did it become a comfort read? Did it resonate with you? Would you want to live in it? And I've been using this rating system since April this year, and I really liked it because it gave me a more real rating. Because before this, I would literally give 5 stars if I liked the book enough, so it made me a little more critical, which was what I wanted. That little cat is just a vibe, so I wanted a little close up to honor him. And the girl on the corner is my zodiac sign, Scorpio. I had these stickers from Journalsay, and since I already used Leo and this theme can be also used in the zodiac aesthetic, I thought why not use my own sign in here, and I actually love it. So now for the maybe next. This is basically a TBR or to be read, but I saw Erin using this term in her own reading journal, and she explained that it was a more subtle title than TBR because to be read is almost like a chore that you have to do, and maybe next is more of a suggestion, which is basically what I do with mine. It's just a list of books that I thought were interesting enough to read throughout the year, or some continuation of series that I might forget, so I'm referring to this as maybe next. I actually already have a maybe next list in my current reading journal, but it's ending because I read most of the books in there and I decided to use this new one for an autumn and Christmas maybe next. I'm also thinking of participating in the Bewitched Book Challenge, also made by Erin, and it's during October, so I have quite a lot of books to read for that, and I also read spooky books until December, so I make my spooky season last past October because 1 month is just not enough. Moving on, we are now doing my reading goals in a different way. In my other reading journal, I did squares for 35 books, that is my goal, and I was coloring them according to the rating. This time I wanted to try a different system, so I used my book stamps to make bookshelves, and I'm going to color the books by month, but I'm going to explain that in a minute. I wanted to also tell you that I'm not going to include my book challenges, book brackets, or my statistics in this journal because I have the other one, and this is just an extension of that. If you want more inspiration and spreads, you can always check out the setup that I'm going to link down below. For this one, I just did the spreads that I needed space-wise, and I just added this one because I wanted to try a new system before committing to one for the whole 2026. After I stamped the books, I counted each shelf to make sure I had enough books and I put the little number on the side. And if I read more than my goal, I can always draw a few more next to these ones. Then I went with my black fine liner to fill in the spaces that didn't stamp very well, and then it's time to decorate the bookshelves. That is my favorite part. While I was decorating the outside of the spread, I saw the pieces of paper that were left from that half circle that I used in the previous spread, and I had the amazing idea, if I say so myself, of using them on the top corners to make it look like you are looking inside an actual bookshelf. And I really love how this decoration turned out. So, to explain how this system is going to work, let me grab my current reading journal. I'm going to use a color that I used in a theme from each month, and I'm going to color the number of books I read in that month. So for example, in January I made a theme that was mainly pink, so I'm going to color 3 books in pink, which was the number of books I read that month, and so on and so forth. Honestly, I don't love how it turned out after the coloring, so maybe I'm going to change the color method a little bit for next year if I decide to use this one. I'm going to update both reading journals until the end of the year, and why I'm going to do that? Well, this one is basically an experiment for the reading goals, and the rest is pretty much overflow, so I still have all the other information, challenges, and statistics on my current reading journal, so it makes sense to have everything there, at least the majority, and in here it's basically the overflow. And now, after I added some more cats and sparkles, we can continue to the next spread. This one is my reading log, and I made it pretty much the same as my current one, and if you've been following my reading journal videos, you know that I ran out of space there, so I'm going to do this spread differently next year. So why am I replicating the same thing if it doesn't work? Well, I don't read the same quantity of books in 3 months that I read in 9, so I think I'm going to be just fine with this space. But yes, for 2026 I'm going to try a different layout. For the ones that didn't see any of those videos, this is basically a table that contains information about the books that I read in that year or whatever time frame I decide. So from left to right we have the title of the book, the author, the number of pages, when I started reading the book, when I finished it, and the rating that I gave it. Honestly, the information that's relevant for my statistics from here is the number of pages and the rating, but I just like to see how it looks in the end, which I already saw in my current journal. I'm decorating the bottom of the table because I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to go that far. I'm not reading that many books in the remaining 3 months, so it's okay if I decorate it. If you are curious to see how this spread looks like completely full, you can go watch my August reading wrap-up or my August reads, because it is in that video that I literally have to do some work to make sure I could write the rest of the books in there, because it is really full, but I need that space until the end of September, so I couldn't help it. Doing the lettering is one of my favorite parts. It's kind of relaxing for me, unless I really want that specific font and I'm trying to recreate it, but otherwise my usual lettering style comes natural to me, so I'm really comfortable doing that. But even if I'm doing a new style, I really enjoy the process, and I try to practice a little bit on the paper just to make sure the letters are all consistent with that font, because sometimes I begin writing in a specific font, but I'm so concentrated that I unconsciously continue writing in my usual style mid-word, so it takes a little bit of work, but it's one that I really like. Now for the last spreads, I'm recreating another reading log, but this one is more visual. This is how it looks in my current reading journal, and it's one of my favorite layouts so far. I love looking at all the book covers and my reviews, and it's almost like looking at a catalog. But the problem here is that the dimensions that I used in that one are no longer the same, of course. So instead of dividing the page in 3 sections, I had to do it in 2, because otherwise I wouldn't have enough space to write my reviews, and that's kind of the important part. So I had to move things around, like the ratings and such, but I really like how it turned out. And of course, with just 2 books per page, it's going to take more spreads, but I don't really need that many. 2 pages means 4 books, and I made space for 8 in total. Usually I read 2 or 3 books per month, so I think it's enough space, but even if it isn't, I'm going to leave an empty spread before setting up for October, just to make sure I have a space for that if I need it. And now to explain a little bit of this layout, I have a space for the book cover, a space for my 2 rating systems, which is the Peach system, that's the one for my star rating, and my spice rating. That one I didn't make a specific place for it because I know it without having to check it out, so it was pointless. And then on the side I have the title, the author, the series, so if it's a part of the series or a standalone. Then we have the genre, the format, if I read it in paperback, hardcover, ebook or audiobook, and finally the publication year. I don't bother with the actual date, I just want a year for my statistics. And below that I have a space to write a little review of the book. This one is basically like a summary because I already do a full review in the monthly sections of the journal for each book, and I write my full thoughts in there. But in here I really like to write just my overall feelings, the vibe of the book and things like that, because it's easier to read that if I plan in the future to reread some of these books, and instead of having to read that full review in detail, I can just check this one and see my thoughts. With those spreads done, we are going back right to the first page, and I'm writing my name and just putting a little moon for decoration, because the name page is already quite full with the designs of the journal itself. It's time for the final flip through. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe, and comment down below a moon emoji to let me know you watched it till the end. I'm really excited to try doing reviews and monthly setups in this format for the next months, so it's going to be fun, I think. And again, if you need more inspiration and ideas for a reading journal, you can check out my other reading journal setup down below. Of course, I have to say it again, that you don't need to wait for January to start a journal. I literally started my first reading journal in like November of 2022, if I'm not mistaken, so just start whenever you want. Let me know what you think about this theme. Honestly, I love it so much that I want to do it soon. I hope you have a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!